All right, bro. So listen, I did say that throughout the playoffs, I was not gonna, use any music while I'm talking about playoff teams in my video for the series recap. But considering we ain't there yet, I'm gonna be using music for this particular video anyway. Definitely not gonna be any pictures, but there's gonna be some music in the background. But this will be the last video for now, as from every video from this point on until the end of the playoffs, it's just going to be in the style of Kenny For Real and Rusty Buckets. So thank you for listening to my disclaimer, I guess. But anyways, welcome to the channel again. I don't know why I did that. Anyways, what's up, y'all? It's X again. If you are new to the channel, or if you're not subscribed to the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, or do whatever the hell you want, I guess. In this particular video, I'm going to be briefly discussing every single play-in game matchup and who I think is going to win. And then the video after that, which I'm debating on whether that should have music or not, despite what I said in my disclaimer. Originally, I was going to have a video talking about the play-in tournament, but I was like, you know what, make this a 2-for-1 and discuss my thoughts briefly in under like a minute or such. So if y'all don't know what the play-in tournament is, basically the play-in tournament is a tale of two cities type beat. On one hand, you have two teams competing to secure the 7th seed, and on the other hand, you have two or three teams fighting for the 8th seed. Now personally, I like the idea of the play-in tournament. It's just a matter if they execute correctly, but even though I do like it, I can see why some people are like, nah, let's not do the idea. But simply put, the reason why I like it is that it gives teams a chance to be more competitive, because the NBA had a big issue with teams tanking for basically a high lottery pick. And even though while the Rockets and Thunder were the examples of tanking this year, there were a good amount of teams in both the Eastern and Western Conference this year that competed for a playoff spot or a chance to clinch their spot in the play-in tournament. So there you go. I wasted 2 minutes already. Let's just dive right into the thing. Let's start off with the Eastern Conference first. The first matchup I want to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets versus Indiana Pacers. In this matchup, I'm going to be picking the Charlotte Hornets to win this game. So despite Indiana being the number 14th rated offense in comparison to Charlotte being ranked number 22, the Pacers have been a mess all year long. Well, actually since the second half of this year, with injuries like TJ Warren missing the season with a foot injury, Jeremy Lamb being basically injury prone, now he's out with a left knee. Now you have Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon being questionable. They're more than likely a game time decision. And then obviously their recent piece that they got from the James Harden trade, Caris LeVert, had to deal with kidney cancer, and he had to be out for I think a whole month if I'm correct. They had players that had the virus or had to be in virus protocols, and more recently the tension between the players and their head coach Nate Bjorkgren. And in terms of like the team's defense, Indiana is ranked 15th and Charlotte is ranked number 17th. And I think they're both like even with each other if you want to talk about which team is more impactful on the defensive end. I think this game will come down more to execution. And more recently, despite, there are some big wins here and there, like their win against the Sixers, I'm talking about the Pacers, by the way, their win against the Sixers, Indiana has been kind of struggling all year, especially with all the injuries and, again, their tension with the head coach. Now, I'm not denying that the Pacers do have weapons. They definitely have Brogdon, LeVert, and Sabonis if all three of them are healthy, which I know LeVert is. Again, Brogdon and Sabonis are questionable, but I'm going to give the Hornets the edge in this one, and here are my reasons why. No, I'm not picking them because of LaMelo Ball. I may or may not be lying when I say that, but I'm picking them because they have better offensive weapons that can score outside LaMelo. Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, unfortunately he's hurt. Miles Bridges, who can score 13 a game, but he's mostly known for his athletic defense. Devontae Graham, who is an absolute sniper. PJ Washington, also a 13-point per game scorer. But in terms of like the team's defense, Charlotte's defense is a lot better than people give it credit for, and I think that's because they are number 17. But they have athletic wings who can defend. Terry Rozier is a good defender. PJ Washington, Miles Bridges are excellent defenders. Jalen McDaniels, who has recently emerged with the Charlotte Hornets, is a good defender. Cody Zeller is a good shot blocker. Bismack Biyombo is a great post defender. Now, granted, yeah, the Charlotte Hornets also did struggle to close out the year, but I feel like they are much more in tune and much more in sync, and I feel like the players and the coaches get along in comparison on what the hell is going on with Indiana. So yeah, I'm picking the Charlotte Hornets, and I definitely think it will be a close game. So moving on to the other side, the Eastern Conference play-in is the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards at 7 and 8. And for this matchup, I'm going to be picking the Washington Wizards. So in this matchup, I made videos on why both teams have sucked, especially my long ass 19-minute rant about Boston. But since the All-Star break, in terms of the Wizards, they proved me and a lot of fans wrong, winning 14 of their last 19 games. Washington has not only meshed as a team as of late, but also as of late, Westbrook has been playing a lot better, and he's even surpassed Oscar Robertson for the most triple doubles of all time. Now currently Bradley Beal is dealing with a hamstring injury, so that could really impact my prediction. But y'all gotta put it this way, bro. He said he's not 100%, but I'm saying this as if Beal were healthy right now. You know what I'm saying? But key players like Rui Hachimura, Davis Bertans, and their recent acquisition in Daniel Gafford have excelled in their roles. I do think Gafford should get more minutes than Alex Len, no question, because Alex Len, well, he's a better version of Luke Cornett, who is ironically on the Celtics, and we don't know how much of a bum Luke Cornett is. While Washington's defense is not great still, I do think they have an edge over Boston, assuming Bradley Beal is playing. On Boston's side of things, they somehow, in my opinion, got worse, but at the same time, they did get better. I don't know how you can do that, but that's the case with the Boston Celtics. Now, yes, they did come back down 32 in a huge win against the Spurs, huge being in quotations because the Spurs are not even a legit playoff contender. Again, they are the 10th seed for a reason. In terms of their offense did get better. There's a lot more ball movement, even though Kemba is, really streaky on offense, and he'll sometimes hit big shots and he'll throw up really dumb shots. Tatum the same way. But their offense did get better with the acquisition of Evan Fournier, who will be playing a really critical role in Boston's rotation come playoff time. Peyton Pritchard is a really, really good three-point shooter and is a decent defender. But on the defensive side of the ball, they somehow, in my opinion, got worse. Now, I said in my video about the Boston Celtics that Marcus Smart, had he been playing in the games they lost, I think they would have done a lot better had he not gone down with COVID and all that. But since he came back, it's like he has not been the same explosive energy player since. And one of their main issues on defense is that they don't have a legit paint protector. They don't have a legit big man. I mentioned how Luke Cornett is trash, and they do have Tristan Thompson. And this Tristan Thompson that we're talking about, or at least the one I remember, is the guy who got out-rebounded by Steph Curry in the finals. So yeah, the big man situation is down horrendously tremendous, if that's even a thing. But let's talk about Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, I think Kendrick Perkins was the one that pointed this out. He is their glue guy. I said Marcus Smart was the glue guy, and I still think he is, but I think Jaylen Brown plays a more important role to this Boston Celtic team. And he's out for the year with a wrist injury, and losing Jaylen Brown really hurts the team because, and even though I did say that it was the Hawks game where Danilo Gallinari went berserk on the Celtics, that Jaylen Brown didn't hustle enough, Jaylen Brown has been very vital to both the team offensively and defensively. So losing Jaylen Brown is going to really hurt the Celtics. That's the reason why I'm picking Washington to win this particular matchup, assuming Beal is back and 100% healthy. So moving on to the Western Conference, we have the Memphis Grizzlies versus the San Antonio Spurs at number 9 and 10. So as y'all see on my screen there, I have the Grizzlies in a question mark because I do believe the Spurs can just throw a curveball into left field and somehow win this game against the Memphis Grizzlies. But I'm going to stick with my prediction and pick the Grizzlies. Now, while I am picking Memphis to win this game, I'm going to be pretty objective and critical about them because these are some things that I've seen based on some of the Memphis Grizzlies games I've watched. But from what I understand, Memphis is basically the same team from last year in terms of like their main core with like Ja Morant, Dillon Brooks, Valanciunas, what else? Brandon Clark and all those guys. But Ja Morant has played well this year, averaging 19, 4, and 7 on pretty okay efficiency. Dillon Brooks has always been a solid 3-and-D player, and he's averaging 17 a game this year. And Jonas Valanciunas, ever since he was acquired from Toronto 2 years ago, has been a walking double-double for this Memphis Grizzlies team. Now, despite all these pretty stats I'm telling y'all, man, somehow they are ranked number 15 in offensive efficiency. Defensively, they are better than the Spurs, with them being at number 6 in comparison to the Spurs being at number 19. So that's the reason why I'm picking Memphis to win this game, because they do have a good defense. But the thing is, it can also be the Achilles heel because Steph Curry and the Warriors proved that. And even though I am picking Memphis to win, I've said that multiple times already, Memphis is still a young team that lacks experience outside of guys like Jonas Valanciunas, who's been to the conference finals before. Justice Winslow has been to the playoffs multiple times with the Miami Heat. And obviously former Spur Kyle Anderson has made the conference finals. But like I said, the reason why I'm picking Memphis to win this game is because of their defense and because Ja Morant has a really great game and Dillon Brooks does not foul out. In the Warriors game I watched, and this is a little side tangent, Dillon Brooks was the main reason why Memphis came back down, I think 21 in that game. And then by the time he fouled out, the Grizzlies just collapsed there. So Dillon Brooks has to play well. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, Jaren Jackson Jr. also has to play well. He has been playing well since he got back, but in the Warriors game, he did not look all that great. But he's going to have to play a huge role alongside Jonas Valanciunas and all the other guys in order for the Grizzlies to win this game. But let's talk about the Spurs side of things. The last 2 years, the Spurs have been not really all that good. I already discussed in my LaMarcus Aldridge video that the Spurs were not even close to, well, they were close to sniffing the playoffs, but it was too little too late when they, you know what I mean? Like, they were not a playoff team. But they obviously have one of the greatest coaches of all time in Greg Popovich, who does set his best foot forward when it comes to a team's defense and rotations. They have dogs like DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell, the rookie, Keldon Johnson, and Patty Mills, who is still good. But the only way the Spurs can make it out of this game is through their best player, DeMar DeRozan. So DeMar obviously played next to Jonas Valanciunas in the run of the conference finals a few years ago with Toronto. So he has the most playoff experience there. And DeMar DeRozan, even though, yeah, he can be a playoff choker, I do think that he is prone to have a big game, especially in moments like these. So the Spurs win this one if DeMar has a good game, and Memphis wins this one if Ja Morant not only has a good game, Dillon Brooks doesn't commit silly fouls, Jaren Jackson plays good defense, Jonas Valanciunas just keep doing you, bro. You know what I mean? So this matchup is pretty tough for me to decide. So I wouldn't be surprised if the final score of this game was something like 106 to 104. Memphis, hits a clutch shot or even a game winner. Like in similar fashion to the Memphis-Portland game last year in the bubble where it was a single-digit game. Now, last but not least, I will be talking about the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors. Man, y'all know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to go for the Lakers. God damn it. So obviously, the Lakers are ranked number 1 in defensive efficiency. And we have players that are better than the Warriors supporting cast. And we have the greatest player in the planet right now in LeBron James. We have one of the best power forwards in the game, Anthony Davis. And we have really tough lockdown defenders in both Dennis Schroeder and Caldwell Pope. THC dude has been on fire recently. He hit the game winner for us against the Knicks. Alex Caruso has been playing really well, and he's always been a bulldog for us. And Andre Drummond has been meshing with us since LeBron James came back. So we have enough firepower to absolutely crush Golden State, but we cannot sleep on Golden State because they do have really good defenders as well. Andrew Wiggins has become a much improving defender. Kent Bazemore, since he's been in the rotation, made the Warriors defense a whole lot better in my opinion. Steph Curry obviously is one of the greatest shooters of all time. Draymond Green is also vital to the team's defense, and yada yada yada. So both teams have nights where they can really clamp down, but I'm picking the Lakers for this one because, like I said, our team is going to be swarming defensively, and offensively will just be too much for Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins. I think LeBron and Davis versus Steph and Andrew Wiggins, I think that's a pretty easy choice. But I'm not going to be sleeping on the red hot Warriors, especially Steph Curry having a good game is going to give us a lot of trouble. In the first game against us, they came back down 19. So we can definitely have another version of that night. And now the key players in this particular game on both sides On Golden State's side, it's Andrew Wiggins, and on my team, it's Andre Drummond. Andrew Wiggins is probably one of the most streakiest players in the NBA. Now, yes, he's been more consistent this year, averaging 18, I think, on really solid efficiency. But he does have nights where he's not only a ball stopper, he can be very inconsistent and very inefficient with the ball. I think Steve Kerr can help him change those habits, and Draymond and Steph can put him in positions where he can score the basketball. On our side of things, a lot of people are saying like Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, Dennis Schroeder. In my opinion, it's got to be Andre Drummond. When we got Andre Drummond, we expected him to fill the role out for, let's say, JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Now, statistically, he's better than both those guys when those guys were with us. But from the games I've seen, Drummond has a habit for reaching too much and sleeping too much on defense while being a black hole on offense. As of recently, he's been doing a very good job upholding his end of the bargain on both ends. But simply put, y'all, if Drummond has a good game on both offense and defense, because I have confidence that AD, LeBron, and Schroeder will do their thing. Kuzma will be Kuzma with like him changing his hairstyles and whatnot. THC dude is going to be THC dude and all. If Drummond has a good game on both ends of the floor, we have a really good chance of winning this basketball game. Alright, y'all, so those are my predictions for the playing games on Tuesday and Wednesday. So let's say those predictions do come true. In the Eastern Conference, you have the Celtics versus Hornets, and on the other side, you have the Grizzlies versus Warriors. In the Eastern Conference, I'm going to pick the Celtics because just like the Memphis Grizzlies, the Hornets are a young team that lack a lot of experience outside of Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward, who've both been in conference finals before. Now, yes, I did pick them against Indiana because I talked about that they are more well-meshed than Indiana, and they look like they're having a lot of fun together and they're getting along with their coach. But I do believe the Celtics should win against the Charlotte Hornets, who are young and don't have a lot of experience. But the thing about the Celtics is that they've been a wild card team this year, and that's pretty bad considering this team is supposed to be a contender. So they could definitely fall out of the 8th spot like that. So with that being said, I do give Boston the edge in this game, but I feel like if the Celtics were to face the Hornets, you know what I'm saying? I think the final score will be somewhere around 100 to 96. Celtics win it and clinch the 8th seed. On the other hand, we have the Memphis Grizzlies assuming they win against the Spurs versus the Golden State Warriors assuming they lose against the Lakers. So in this matchup, I know Ja Morant and all those guys are looking for revenge against Steph Curry, and I believe it will be a closer game than the one they had last night where they lost 113 to 101. But I still give the Warriors the edge in this game, and I believe Steph Curry is going to play well, and the Warriors' supporting cast will also play passable, if you know what I mean, like passable to pretty good. And on the other side, the Grizzlies will make it a competitive game similar to what they did last year in the bubble. So if y'all asking my prediction on that particular game and the final score, I'm assuming it'll be somewhere with last year's score against the Blazers, 125 to 119. But I'm picking the Warriors to win that game. So yeah, man, that is basically it for my play-in tournament predictions. From this point on, I think this will be the second to last video for now where I put music and pictures in the background, even though there's not going to be pictures in this one nor the next one, but there's definitely going to be some music in the background. But after that, every video covering the playoffs with series recap and me like doing rants about certain games, like I said, with like a team who was expected to be a contender down 3-2 against a team that they should crush, you know what I mean? I will be covering that with no music and no pictures and all that. It's going to be mostly raw and off the top of my head based on some notes I got here in my notebook. So yeah, that's going to cap it off, man. I have to do a project for one of my college classes because it is due in a couple of days and I barely got started on it. But I figured I'd make this video real quick and get back to that. So yeah, that's going to cap it off. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, whatever the hell I said at the beginning of the video. That's the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces. Oh shit, self-nick. I forgot to say this, but leave your thoughts and comments down below and predict who you think is gonna win the play-in games because definitely I know some of y'all are going to have something different to say from what I said in this video. But like I said, man, leave your predictions for the play-in tournament in the comments below. And now that's the end of the video. I'm X, deuces, and series recap is on its way. I cannot wait to do this with y'all.